Welcome to a short training on filling out the forms for our this year's Eastern Kentucky Hay Contest. So what I would like to do is just walk you through two things: the entry form and then also the spreadsheet that each county is going to use to enter the information that you collect with your sample. So let's get started. We've changed the look of the form quite a bit, and one of the things that you'll notice right away that is new is this place label here. We're going to use a system of labels to keep track of the sample once it gets into a bag and separated from this entry sheet. In order to do that, Brian Jeffers is going to create labels for you that will have your county name, it'll have the hay contest title, and it will have a unique number, the first three digits of which is your county number, your soil data county number, and the next three digits will be the sample number, correspond to the sample number. So I pick on Boyd County a lot. I know it's county number 19 or 019. So their first sample is going to be 019 002. We're not going to use 001 on any for any sample number to help us line up some of the things in the spreadsheet. So the first sample you take will be your first will be 009 or whatever your county number is, and then the corresponding number. And you won't really have to do much thinking about that because you'll have a sheet of labels that will be printed for you, and then you'll just probably before you go to the field or keep them with you and stick a label on the form, and then you're ready to go. So you're there at the farm. You're going to mark whether the sample is for the contest or not for the contest, and whether it needs a ration. And if it does, then circle beef, goat, or horse. You're going to have the information for the county, the producer, the phone, the address, city, and the zip and the email, so that you've got a way to contact and get this information back to the individual. Something new that is on this form this year is the forage species in this block, and we've left a lot of room there. And this is, you might say that this information is redundant because you're going to have some other information that may repeat this, but one of the things that we need to be absolutely certain of is what is the forage that is in that sample, because the NIR is very specific to the forage type. For example, annual Espediza is a very unique forage and a unique calibration for the NIR. So fill out and put in the forage species block exactly to your best information, your best knowledge, what the forage species is. Moving over to the right, just check the type of package that it is. Then we've got two blocks for description. One, I'm going to say this, the first one, put in if it's first cutting, second cutting, whatever it is that in particular, if it's got that kind of information. And then on the other one, that's where sometimes you have descriptions about it's in the, in the front of the barn, the back of the barn, or some other descriptor, so that you know what that, how to describe that the farmer is going to know. It's more for the farmer to know and you to know than what kind of sample that was when they go back and look at the results. We need enough information in there to be able to track it back to the farm, but we don't have to have both of these filled out because you've got space for both. Now let's moving on down the form. If it's in the hay class, then you can mark alfalfa grass, mixed grass or legume grass, and if it's just grass, circle 1. If it's Kentucky 31 tall fescue, orchard grass, novel tall fescue, and if it's another grass, then please specify that. If it's a summer annual, then we're going to need to know which summer annual that is, and there's a list down here at the bottom: sorghum, sudan, millet, teff, annual Espediza, soybean, And again, the species must be identified. Same thing over on the silage class, except we've added small grain as a choice there. So I believe this finishes the first page, or the sample entry information for the forage itself. A note there at the bottom, it says the deadlines must be received. The deadline that says the samples must be received in quicksand by 4:30 p.m. Friday, October the 9th. If you're going to need to have a ration developed, let's walk through the kind of information we need to have collected. For cattle, this is the new form. You can see the types of animals, the growing animals there, and the expected rate of gain. Just select the appropriate choices. Or if you're into this category, this group of animals, please select those. Then please mark the kind of concentrate and the kinds of protein supplement that you're going to be using. Something new that is this year, if you're going to use a custom mix, like a 3-way mix of corn, soy hulls, and distillers grains, then please enter that composition, those ingredients, and what percent of the mix each occupy. Over on the protein supplement, again, this is similar to what you've used before. If they're going to use a protein tub, please take a picture of the label and send that directly to Dr. Limcooler. And it's going to be very important that you will track that somewhere, and probably best if you write it on the label itself, or take what we've got to do is we've got to associate the sample number with that label so that Dr. Limcooler can know, and we can know, that label goes back to the sample in your county. So it's very important that label number, your sample number, which is unique to that sample, tracks everything about that sample wherever it goes. On goats, this is just rearranged a little bit from what you've seen before, but it's very similar. So again, it should be just mark or check the blanks that apply, add the weights and the expected growth rates. We have changed the goat type just a little bit. We've added a few more breeds there for you to choose from. For concentrate and protein supplement, similar to the beef option, this another example of where you're using a commercial feed. Then take a picture of that label. Make sure that you associate the sample number with it and send that to Dr. Ken Andrews. And this has been on other years, other forms in past years, indicate other feeds you may be using, like cottonseed hulls, etc. On the protein supplement, you can see the choices. If you're using a custom mix of ingredients, like that 3-way blend I mentioned before, please specify the ingredients and the percent of the mix here. And Dr. Andrews wants to know these two questions. Do your goats have access to pasture during the time they will be fed this hay? And is that pasture land hilly, rolling, or fairly flat? Moving to the horse information, you can see that this is very similar to what you've looked at in the past, where you specify a breed and then you begin to fill in the appropriate blanks for the type of activity for this mature horse and the weight of that mature horse. Same thing for breeding horses and so on. The form looks a little different here for concentrate feeds than the other ones, but you can see this is what we've done in the past. You've marked one or the other and filled that out. Commercial feed, the feed name, the feed company. Please send a picture of the feed tags for any of the commercial feeds being used to Dr. Coleman. And again, for that custom mixed feed, please specify the ingredients and the percent of the mix for each one, and other feeds that you might be using. So this is mostly similar to that in the years past. So this is a very quick look at the paperwork that you'll fill out for every sample when you take the sample and enter it into the hay contest or not, because some of these are not, you choose not to have them in the hay contest, and that's fine. Now, what I would like to do is introduce the idea of that is new this year, and that is that the counties themselves, each county, will enter the information from the at least the first page of this form into a spreadsheet that we've put into a shared folder in OneDrive. So if you'll give me just a moment, I'll stop sharing this screen and I'll move over to the spreadsheet. Okay, I am sharing the spreadsheet and I'm going back to the start. Okay, this is the spreadsheet actually for Boyd County that I've opened it up in his shared drive, and this is the way it will look. I have locked the headers across the top, so you can't change those. You can start editing in the blocks below it. So the way this is lined out, it corresponds as close as I can get it to the form itself, so that you or your staff support, when they enter this, they're not going to be searching the form to find where's the information. It should walk you straight through it, left to right, top to bottom, for that form. So the first thing that you would do, or your staff support, is to enter the lab number, and that's that label number that's up in the upper right of that entry form. And so this will be the first sample, and again, we're going to start with 002 in every case. So in Boyd County, which is 019, I typed in 019002, and it skipped off the front 0 as fine, and just left it at 19002. Moving to the right, where it says for the contest, and I've made that a drop-down choice, yes or no, so we're going to call this yes. You move to the next column, needs a ration. This sample, yes, in fact, we're going to need a ration, and that's also a drop-down. The next cell is the ration type. We're going to need a beef cattle ration. County name. Now, this is Boyd County. It's somewhat redundant, but there are cases where you as an agent may take samples in the next door county where there is no ag agent currently. So it'll have, you'll be able to then select, I'll just pick on Keith Center here. We'll say that Lyndall had to go rescue Keith, poor Keith, and take one of his samples for him. So you would put the correct county name right here. But since that's probably not going to happen, we better make this a Boyd County sample. But all the counties in the contest are in a drop-down box. Okay. Then the first name, last name, the phone, the address, the city, the zip, the email, all those things are straightforward. Then we get, remember, we're going to specify that we're going to be using a forage species, and I'll pick an off the wall one, bird's foot trefoil. I've probably only seen one honest to goodness bird's foot trefoil stand in my life, but we're going to, since we need to specify this species, we're going to put it right there. For the bale package, there's another drop down. Is it a small square? We'll pick that. The other two choices are round bale or large square. Then we're going to get into the descriptor boxes. And again, remember, these are mainly to help the producers understand which hay that that the report goes back to. So we're going to call this second cutting. And we're going to call this the Mackey field, just for fun. Next column over is the hay or silage, because you got to enter the class or whether it is hay or silage. So we're going to call this hay. Then you get over to the class column, and you can see that those classes are they're specified there. If it is a grass, remember we're going to specify what kind it is. Kentucky 31, orchard grass, novel, tall fescue, or other. If you click other, then you've got a little more work to do before you're done with this sample. And here's the where we've clicked other. Then you need to specify the other grass. Let's see. Let's think of something. This doesn't. It's not. Since we know it's got birchwood trefoil in it, I'm just going to think of another example where you might have big blue stem. Sarah has some big blue stem in there near the extension office in Morgan County. So if we don't have the grass in there, then you picked other, then you need to specify what it is. And again, this may seem like too much information, but you would be surprised at sometimes how specific the equations are for the NIR as we begin to try to predict your energy and protein from the hay sample. Of course, if it's a summer annual, then it's similar drill there. You're going to have to specify which one it is. And there's another case where if you pick other, then you'll need to specify the other type of summer annual and put it, and you can type in whatever you need to right there. All right. Now this is a really quick run through of this spreadsheet. Now let's talk about what you do with it, or after you've finished entering all of your information, then you will save it, and that's all you have to do is save it. It's already placed in a OneDrive folder that I have access to. And then I can pull those out and then collate them at the end and send them down to Chris Teutsch in Princeton for him to use when he generates his quality numbers from your samples. So again, this is a quick run through of both the entry form and the spreadsheet. Obviously, it probably will not go as smooth as it appears on at least this short video, but we will, I'm happy to talk through any problems you have with this at any time. But for now, I'll close off this section of this video and finish it up and share it with you if you need it. And thank you so much for your patience with the changes in the contest this year. This is really a really good effort, and this will make it much faster, and we will do a better job for your producers by handling the samples in this way, and also by using this spreadsheet entry form. So thank you very much.